Welcome to Asake Online. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. This is the Breakfast Club. We give you, I think this is a special edition. In the last 24 hours, we have seen a lot of, a story that was doing the rounds on the dispute that is going on at Ntabazinduna farm. It's a farm, it's a lodge. Some know it as the Chief's Lodge. There is a guy called Davis, and there's also Floyd Ambrose. This case has been going on for some time. I remember a year or two ago, we actually, I think, had an event there where Chief Ndebele was having something on top of the mountain, and we've heard the stories about this place, which is seen as sacred to some, and the dispute that has been going on about this place. So today we invited Floyd Ambrose, the guy who has the rights, should I say the offer letter to the place, to understand why this dispute has been going on for such a long time. And what I find interesting about this story is that the farm was divided into 15 plots. Floyd's plot is plot number 15, and this is where the dispute is. And also, from what we are going to hear from him, there is other people on this land. So I want to find out why this particular area, what's so special about this area? What is it that can be done to solve the issue? Because at the end of the day, people should be productive. I think the amount of time that has been spent on this case in terms of legal fees, in terms of energy, it's a lot. And also the fact that now it involves the community and other people, it can set a bad precedent if it's not, properly addressed. So we want to find out from Floyd, what is the issue? How did he get there? Does he have the permission from the Minister of Lands to get there? Is he willing to solve this issue? So let's hear from him what he has to say. We have seen the fight that is going on for years at the Ntabazinduna farm. Briefly tell us the history. How did you get there?
Thank you, Zenzele. I've been there since 2004. Yes, I've been on the farm since 2004. And from the time I've been there, I developed the place, worked on it, and I was actually issued an offer letter by the Ministry of Lands for that lot. Ntabazinduna farm as a whole is cut up into 15 lots. 15 lots have been cut up. There's 15 lots plus the remainder of Ntabazinduna, which had the main homestead for the farm, because Mr. Davis, he actually owned 3 farms, and within Ntabazinduna, that's where there was the main hub for those 3 farms. In 2010, I got issued an offer letter by the Minister of Lands, and I lived there, ran the place as a business. And later on in 2015, Mr. Davis approached me, and he said, Mr. Ambrose, I've had enough of farming. I'm sick and tired of farming. I would like, just something small where I can stay with my family, because I've now been offered a job at Falcon College, where I'll be doing my mechanics and all that. Since you still got a bit of energy, would you like to have a look? Maybe you can utilize some of my infrastructure there. So we looked at it, and the basis of it, we said, okay, even if we have to do anything, we have to be guided by the law. Because where I am, I have an offer letter on my lot. And where Mr. Davis is on the remainder, he didn't have any piece of documentation from Minister of Lands, because the whole farm had been gazetted. So we had drawn up an MOU, which stated there's a number of things. And the main was that, the final occupancy, the status of the occupancy had to come from Minister of Lands. So during the course between 2015, when we actually did the swap of just accommodation, the main thing was, it wasn't a swap in terms of us changing title of who's meant to be where, because we can't do that. It was just in terms of accommodation and people doing their various projects.
So what it meant was you went to stay at the Mr. Davis farmhouse. Mr. Davis then came to stay at the lodge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it is in essence. So during that period, the onus was on him to actually go to Ministry of Lands and at least have some piece of documentation to say, okay, Mr. Ambrose, Mr. Davis, the remainder on the section of his, which is the remainder, here's some documentation to prove that he has ownership of it. But then from there, between 2015 and 2017, nothing happened. Occasionally, I'll ask him, Mr. Davis, have you managed to get any paperwork with your piece so that we can go to Ministry of Lands and regularize our stay, because we are outside the confines of the law. What we've done, we have to go to the Ministry of Lands and they documented everything so that we are above board. During that period, nothing came up. And each time I would ask Mr. Davis, he would be aggressive. Oh, no, I'm not going to, I didn't have time. You know, he had various comments towards it. So eventually, come the end of 2017, I actually approached, I said, right, we now, the way things are going, we need to regularize our stay in these places. May you please go back to your section? And I returned to my section. During that period, when we had this meeting, he became very, very arrogant, and he mentioned that he would not move. He wasn't interested in us in going back on the arrangement and all that. So then I actually wrote a letter notifying of my withdrawal from the MOU, which was in 27, and I'd given him 30 days to vacate the premise. The 30 days lapsed. And I saw there was he didn't even respond back to me to see how we could actually try and find an amicable solution to it, and we actually resolved this issue. From there, I then received a letter from Chief Ndiweni, which was stating why am I now re-engaging on the MOU, why am I chasing Mr. Davis with all the things he's done in the community and all that. So from that I thought, no, it's actually wise, because this land is under Ministry of Lands. So I approached the courts for an eviction, right? The process went through, and in 2018, 2019, I got a judgment in my favor to actually evict him through the magistrate's court. But during that period, when that was meant to happen, there was a huge social media tirade that now I'm coming in and kicking him off and all that. And where people have got to understand, I lived, before we had our arrangement with Mr. Davis, I lived there from 2004. I lived there till 2015. I lived there for 11 years solid. That's actually my home. You can check the ZTA certificates. It was ran it as a business. ZESA bills are under my name. There's all that documentation to prove that I was there from that period. So when we went through the courts, the magistrate's court issued its order. As he was about to evict it, there was a huge social media tirade that, oh, now the ex-worker is coming in, he wants to kick out Mr. Davis and all that, but it wasn't all that.
So you mentioned something interesting. Before 2004, yes, you knew Davis. You worked for the Davis.
Yes. When I started I've been in the tourism industry for a very long time, since 1996, when I was 18. I worked for Mr. Davis for a very short period. I think it was a month or two when I just started in the business. That's how I got to know him, and we've known each other for a very long time. Very long time. There was never animosity between us until this issue.
So they've been, I mean, the assumption that I get, or the feeling that I get, is that there are some people who think that you signed an MOU with Davis to swap the place so that Davis develops the place. Then once he has developed it, you then take it back. So during the swap, did he make any developments?
No, very minimal, very minimal. The place is actually still as it is. Still as it is, because even if I could see on what was being shown yesterday, all that clearing has actually been done by me. The place was not well kept. Mr. Davis, it was not being run as a business. It was occasionally used as a home, because half the time, 90% of the time, Mr. Davis is staying in town.
You know, there's one thing that I just don't understand. The farm was divided into 15 plots. You got plot 15.
Yes.
And this is the plot that is under dispute.
Yes.
Why plot 15 and not the others?
It's very interesting. I've also seen a lot of media stuff saying Ambrose has taken over the whole of Ntabazinduna. There's actually 6 other plots that come onto the top of Ntabazinduna, on the mountain. 6 other plots. And lot 15 is actually the smallest. I think the area we occupy just on top of the mountain is not more than 6 hectares. The bulk of the land is down the mountain. The bigger part is within other people's lots.
So why is there no dispute with other people at the mountain?
I think that's a question that Mr. Davis can ask. Why is there no dispute with the other thing, 14 lot holders?
So the other thing that has been in social media or in the media is that you lost 3 judgments in the High Court and still ignored them. Is that the case?
It's actually unfortunate for people to report that way without being furnished with the actual proof. As a law-abiding citizen, how would I actually portray myself that way, that when there's court judgments, I would actually go against them? That is now going against the rule of law. No sane individual can actually do that. And I think for people that know me would actually vouch for that. There's no way I can contest a court judgment. The current position we're actually sitting in is Mr. Davis has made 2 urgent applications, one after the other, right? The first one he made, we got a judgment on the 23rd of February. His case was struck off the roll. He immediately appealed, he immediately filed another urgent application, and that one he got granted.
So what was the urgent application saying? That you should not vacate the farm?
No, I should be evicted from the farm. Both his applications have been saying I've been evicted on the farm. So I'm failing to understand, how do I get evicted off the farm when I'm on hold of an offer letter and the land I've been given by the Ministry of Lands? What right does he have to now evict me off government land?
So this latest offer, is it the one, then when you got the one that was in his favor, then in your part what happened?
Right. When I got my judgment, which was in his favor, I didn't action anything. He immediately filed another urgent application, which then was granted. I immediately appealed that judgment he got through the Supreme Court, immediately. So at law, that judgment actually could not hold. So I still have a judgment which he didn't, which is actually still valid, and that's the one I actually used to actually remove him from the property.
You know, I know when we started, you mentioned the offer letter, and some people might say, Zenzele Ndebele offer letter. Do you have the offer letter?
Yes, I have a copy of the offer letter.
And you've been there since?
I've been there since. And even if you go back before the offer letter, there's even a letter of confirmation in 2008, which clearly spells out the area I've actually been allocated.
So ngizabuza ngesintu lapha Ambrose.
Yebo baba.
I-problem yakho le Davis ingaphi?
uDavis kafuna ukuphuma endaweni yami. Yikho lapho kule problem khona. Ubambelela into ekwazi ukuthi emthethweni ngala. uDavis wachiyelwa eyakhe indawo. Is 75 hectares, which is the remainder of the farm. He does not want to go back there. Ufuna ukuyalela endaweni yami. Inkinga uDavis does not want to go and approach the Ministry of Lands ema-ofisini eMhlahlandlela ukuthi azwisise ukuthi indaba yena uyisimo siphi eplazini leliya. Kudala ngazama ukumchasisela ukuthi Mr. Davis ngicela uhambe eMinistry of Lands ngoba singabe sigijima emakhoti siye ngaphi. The custodian of the authority comes from the Ministry of Lands. Mina ngije I cannot then go ngingenele umuntu oseplot 15. Umthetho kawuvumeli. And everything is documented in black and white. But now ukhuluma la uyakubuza ukuthi which office should I go to? We have an issue. He doesn't want to take it upon himself ukuthi ahambe eMhlahlandlela. I confirm ukuthi right siminjani ngendaba leyi. And it's all there. And they are waiting for him to come and they explain ukuthi kumi njani.
So, you know, the other thing that we've heard over the months, years, has been you took the sacred mountain, which has been the center for cultural activities. So are people allowed on this? Are they culturally, or are people allowed on this mountain if there is any maybe cultural significance of the place?
Over the years when I was there, angeke ngalele muntu obuya ehamba ngendaba zamasiko ngoba abantu abaningi babuya ngendlela enhle. Umuntu uyafika acele ukuthi hayi bengicela Mr. Ambrose whether imoya or whatever kulento esifuna ukuyenza entabeni. Ngeke abanye behle bebuye le date, abanye vele babafike khonapho sokukhona kuyabe sokusenzakala. And we just excuse ourselves bezenzela abakwenzayo bezihambela abantu. In fact, even vele indaba le ngathi ngiyiphiwa I leadership eMatebeleland ubaba uDubiso Dabengwa, Honorable Vice Field Joseph Msika, Omama Matutu, even laye uChief Ndiweni, ubaba uChief Ndiweni, he assisted us as a pillar to actually get this place when we had an issue in 2008. The whole leadership of Matebeleland rallied behind us. So what you know, this young man is already here. Umuntu okumele aphiwe indawo. Yikho kuphuma kwe-offer letter yami. Ngoba kwasokulo abantu ababendihlukumeza bezama ukuthi bengithathele. I-leadership yafaka unyawo layo phansi lathi lo ngumntwana wakithi akula nto enjalo. Ngicelani is young, i-industry yakhe ngicelani simuphi indawo leyo. Indawo ngaphiwa all above board, and even anyone can try and follow indaba leyo. From district level come i-paperwork ikhona akula singunde esayenziwayo.
So would you say, maybe in hindsight, would you say on your part it was a mistake to actually sign this MOU with Davis?
One thing that I think I'm at peace, that gives me peace in this thing is ukuthi to err is human. It gives me peace because njengendoda kumele lawo enye into uyivume ukuthi apha laphana ngaphambanisa. So let me retrack and correct it. But unfortunately i-correction yakhona umuntu wakhona is using hard tactics. Mina from my side I don't have ukuthi I've gone to him, I'm using other people to wrestle him out and all that. Mina ngizenzela ngokwami. Angilwi labanye abantu thina whatever. I think people need to understand it difference is between two people and it's a civil issue. If we start taking other things into other people and using other forums, it then becomes criminal. Who is, at the end of the day, then you get various comments, he's from ZANU-PF, he's what, and what forum is he using? Everyone is also politically connected. Who is not politically connected? Abantu abatumileyo, and they're from a political party. So isn't he politically connected?
So, I mean, have you failed, maybe the two of you, because at the end of the day, you've lost a lot of productive time fighting and money in the courts. The two of you, have you failed to find a mediator and solve this problem amicably?
I mean, I'm open to discussions, but umuntu wakhona nguyoqinisa ikhanda. Uqinisa ikhanda. Why can't we indlela esaqalisa ngayo in good faith, very very good faith njengabantu abazenayo? Why can't we resolve the issue in good faith? Yeah, now the way engahamba kuye sithi lapho we have to redress this situation. Ngangingalwi and ngangingatsho ukuthi Mr. Davis into lesiyenze kusasa because we are all busy with our lives. It was going to be a progress, but the fact that he failed to understand that we had not done something correctly, that actually becomes a problem. So how are we going to solve it now when you don't want to concede? Ukuthi lapana sa pampanisa.
How does this affect your business?
It affects my business a lot, and it actually affects my reputation in the tourism industry. I've been a player in this industry for a very long time. There's a few people that actually do not know me in this industry. I started this industry when I was at the age of 18 years old. I have a very good reputation. amongst the industry. And this is actually damaging me, because Mr. Davis even has the honors to actually go and phone and communicate with some of my partners, business associates in various projects I'm doing, and actually mudsling at me. I've never done that. All he's done is now soiling my image. He's now soiling my image because for him he's got nothing to lose. But I've got a lot to lose. You know, people all around the world, in America, in Europe, and all that, now they're seeing this. The number of phone calls I've had and messages, it's like damaging. So my reputation is actually being damaged by him intentionally. And he goes and uses other people that don't even know me, that have never come up and, you know, nicely, I want to be figure getting, but Mr. Ambrose still cool. How do you respond to people about figure getting very between two? How are you going to do that? Give each other time. Sihlale phansi njengamadoda kanti kwehlulani. Induku vele ngezani, kuliwani.
So, you know, I find this, I don't know, there are so many cases of land disputes and all these kind of things. But I find yours particularly, I'm not sure that you say interesting or unique, in the sense that, according to you, Mr. Davis has his 75 hectares of land. Yes. So you do not take his only farm that he has?
Yes.
You have your own land?
Yes, I have my own land.
So what is the issue?
He just doesn't want to go back to his land. It's even there there's a map that is attached to the offer letter, which actually shows all the lots and where his land is.
So there's a map here?
Yes, there's a map here.
Yeah.
We have the two, this is the whole farm.
Yeah.
Right? There's 15 lots.
Yeah.
Ntabazinduna, as you can see, this is the structure where the lodges are, and this is just, so it's a small area that we are on the mountain.
So out of all this farm,
yes,
you guys are only fighting for this?
But this one in red, that is his. And that is the biggest out of all the lots. Remainder there, 75 hectares. Here the average, most of these, they're about 35. He's actually he was left the biggest, 75 hectares. Ikona ihlezi ngeyakhe kayifuni.
Is he farming?
Uhulumende ongcono njani? Apha abanye abafuna umhlaba. Ngoba nxa engafudi, that's how it should be.
You know, thank you very much for answering some of these questions that have been going on for a long time. I hope it will create a clear picture of what is going on. For me, I would say to you, what is the way forward? You guys, do you plan to sit down and solve this problem? Or to produce you and Davis instead of fighting in the courts?
At the end of the day, the courts don't help anyone, because we are not the appropriate authorities of these particular pieces of land. It's the Ministry of Land. So, and the other scary thing to this is, if such scenarios develop, Mr. Davis or Mr. Smith or Mr. John has an issue on his farm, he goes and gets a group of people, they come and kick out people that have been legally settled by the government. That will be catastrophic for the country. It will develop a trend or a precedence that is not good for abantu abamnyama beZimbabwe. Umhlaba sewuphiwe ngowethu. And one thing for a fact, lapha engikhona angisuki. Umhlaba lo ngowethu. Obaba bethu, they fought for this country. Saphiwe indawo zethu. I'm not a politician or anything, but I'm sticking to the facts. Davis produced as the Land Act says. Title is either an offer letter, land settlement permit, or a 99 years. Produce one of those on this particular lot 15.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. But like I think I've asked this for I'll ask this for the last time and for the third time. You guys, are you willing to solve your problem outside the court and outside the media?
Yena ngayefuna ngamfonele. Abuya hlale phansi enjela ukuthi hayi ngelanga nje Floyd, Mr. Ambrose, I'm busy with my program. Ngizabuya ngizothatha impahla zami. Kuphela siqhubeke phambili. We are wasting time. We are wasting time. We've now come up, like us in the tourism industry, we've been very hard hit. You know, we're trying to resuscitate various projects. We've been very, very extremely hard hit by COVID. We are wasting time, wasting money, instead of trying to actually redesign our business plans and actually move forth. And this is the damaging image to the country. Now it's going around saying, oh, tourism operators are now under fire because of this land thing. I am a tourism player. Davis is not a tourism player. I want to state this for the record. He's not a tourism player. Agula, he works in town, his wife works somewhere. He's not in the industry. The fact that he portrays an image being a white person, people would think he is not a tourism player. Agula tourism ayazi. They ran the lodge a little bit years back before the farm was gazetted. What expertise does he have? He doesn't have. I am the tourism player, and my image is badly affected by this thing. And for people to go around posting stuff, no one has taken the time, which I appreciate Zenzele have actually done, you know, in very good faith, trying to understand this thing. And there the documents are there to support all this discussion. Court judgments and what. Into Kulumaya Mhlabeni Zimbabwe right now on state land is this thing they call an offer letter.
As a journalist, I believe that we should give both sides the right to reply, and we hear from all the sides that are involved. So if Mr. Davis also wants to say his side of the story, he is welcome to come and talk to us, because at the end of the day, we are not pushing anyone's agenda. All we want to do is to give the facts, then people can make their own decisions to say who is right, who is wrong. Not that it will solve the problem, but at the end of the day, it is between Floyd Ambrose and Mr. Davis to sit down, solve the issue, get productive, and prosper. Because whatever we do, they at one point, legally or out of court, they have to solve this issue. So this has been one of those cases that have been going on for a while. I hope we now have a bit of a picture of what is going on. And like I said, we give both sides of the story, or both sides to get the story. I started Langot because at the end of the day, we are side, we are Sake, we believe in dialogue, and I hope you learned something and you got some facts where you now have a clearer picture of what is going on. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again in other programs, have a good day.